Hi everyone, we are back at it, reviewing the best edtech products in the market, and today's tutorial will be on Gimkit. Listen, do your learners this favor and try this with them. I promise you, they'll be so engaged and striving for excellence in your subject in no time. Gimkit is a gamified learning tool that can enable you to review whichever topic at various cognitive levels in the most learner engaging and just totally fun ways possible. So this will be a full Gimkit for Teachers tutorial meant to walk you through everything you need to know to get started with Gimkit. I hope you do enjoy watching this tutorial and using Gimkit, of course. If so, please remember to smash the subscribe button and bell notification to be the first to know when we review similar edtech products in the near future. To sign into Gimkit, go to gimkit.com. And on the home page, click on the sign up button. You can sign up using your Gmail account. After signing into Gimkit, you'll be taken to this dashboard page. And on the left, you have your kits. This gives you access to all your kits, assignments. As you can see, you can turn your kits into independent activities that will be automatically graded. Classes. Here you can add a new class and easily invite your learners into your class. Then lastly, we have the Gimkit news. To create a new kit, simply click on the new kit button. Then on this page, you can name your kit, set the language and the subject. Then click on next. You can then choose a cover photo from any of the options provided. If you don't, then Gimkit will automatically assign a cover photo for your kids. Then on this page, you have the various ways through which you can simply just start creating your kits. With the first option, you have the add questions. I usually just look at any of the multiple choice questions from the multitudes of the previous common exam question papers which may be relevant to the topic that I want to review with my learners. Remember to set the correct answer correctly, because otherwise the game won't work. You can also choose between text or pictures as your answer options. As part of your question, you can also choose to add a picture or audio, various symbols, currency, and so on. Then click on add, and as you can see, your question has been added to your kit. Another great way of adding a question is to add a text input or fill in the blanks type question, wherein the learners will have to type in their answers. You can type in your question and once again set a correct answer to the question. You have similar options in terms of adding a text, pictures, audio, and symbols. Next, you can create with flashcards. Here you can either create the flashcards or import any from somewhere else like Quizzes, Quizlet, or any other such platform. Click on Create with Flashcards. As you can see, this gives you a similar option to creating questions, but with flashcards, you only have to enter a question and the correct answer. Then Gimkit will automatically generate the incorrect answers for you. This gives you a great option to consider when you are looking to save some time. Next, you can create a kit by collaborating with other kit creators on Gimkit, either real-time or asynchronously. Next, we have a very useful feature, the add question from bank, where Gimkit looks at the kit's name and automatically suggests other kits by other creators on Gimkit. As you can see, this gives you plenty of options and you can review each one of these questions in each one of these kits. Click on this plus button to add any of the individual questions, or just simply click on this add all questions button to add all of the questions in this kit. This gives you a great option to get many questions into your kits, which will be very useful later on. Because remember, the many the questions, the better the quality of your gameplay in Gimkit. Lastly, you can choose to import a question from a spreadsheet, a Google Sheets, Excel, or anything like that. Then click on All Done, and that's it. Your kit will appear in your dashboard with all the other kits. After creating your kits, you can just hover around this button next to your kit, and as you can see, you can click to open the kit, edit it, access any reports, copy, add to folder, or archive. Then you can either assign the kit as homework for learners to do individually. Remember, the homework activity will be automatically graded by Gimkit. Then we have mine and so many teachers' favorite around the world, the Play Live feature. Now this here is really something else. And to think only a kid and his friends created this game is just totally mind-blowing. So let's jump straight into it. Click on the Play Live button. As you can see, this brings up the various game modes in Gimkit. We have the featured game modes, popular picks, and the classic twists. There's a total of 15 awesome game modes or simply game types that you and your learners can play in Gimkit. Remember, after signing up for the first time, you get a 64-day trial period to access the full versions of all the games. However, once your trial period lapses, your account will be automatically converted to the free version, where you can still play all the games but with some limitations. I'm just taken aback to the first time I used Gimkit with my learners. It was a teams game on organic chemistry. I promise you, I had never seen all my learners so engaged, so competitive, in a friendly and fair, however highly exuberant manner. To put it simply, number 1, answering questions, 2, aiming to be always correct, 3, working collaboratively with other teammates for the collective good of the whole team. All these great things were suddenly the most popular, the most stylish, and cool things to do. So long story short, if you want to get your learners highly engaged, actively participating, and yes, striving for excellence, I can definitely vouch for the Gimkit Live to be right up there with the best in the world in doing all that and more. Give it a shot. I promise you, your learners will be hooked and asking for more. Now, I will quickly review all these game modes and walk you through each one of them. Under the featured games, we have the Capture the Flag, Tag Domination, Classic, and Team game modes. The Capture the Flag game mode is quite similar to the Tag Domination game mode, and most of the things that I'll be showing you with the Capture the Flag game mode will also be applicable to the Tag Domination game mode. Click on the icon Capture the Flag, then click Continue. As you can see, here learners will compete to protect their flags and aim to capture the other opponent team's flag. Next, for the game's basic settings, we have the game duration. Here you can set the amount of time that will be spent for each game. Then the use nickname generator. Enabling this will assign generated nicknames to each player. Then the join in late setting. Enabling this will allow players to join in after the game has started. Then click Continue. After loading you in, you'll be taken to this Gimkit host page. This will be similar for all games in Gimkit, where you will have the game code which you can, once again, share to your learners for them to join in the game. Back to the learner screens. After going to gimkit.com/join and entering the game code, their name, they will be loaded into the game, and at this point, we'll be waiting for you to start the game. On the teacher screen, you will have the number of players joining in. You can wait for all your learners to join in, then click on Start Game. And on the learner screens, as you can see, the learners will be welcome to either the Echo or the Vortex teams. The point of the whole game is based on them answering questions which will help them gain energy points which they'll need in order to move around, find the opponent team's flag and return it to their side. On the top right corner, all players can see their energy count from this sort of battery life icon, and as you can see, it decreases as you move around. Now, answering questions will once again help the player gain energy points and be able to move around. When you run out of energy, you cannot move and you would have to answer more questions for you to gain energy points and be able to move once again. As a way of strategizing, the player can choose to spend their energy points on some power-ups and upgrades. These will help them in the game, like an efficiency upgrade, which would mean they would use less energy while running around. Next is the tag domination game mode. The tag domination game mode is once again similar to the capture the flag game mode, except with the tag domination, the main difference is that the player's objective is now to gather enough energy so as to move around and tag the opponent team's players. All this while avoiding getting tagged themselves by the opponent team's players. Just like the capture the flag being very similar to the tag domination, the classic mode is also very similar to the teams mode. And most of the things that I'll be going through in the classic mode will also be applicable to the teams game mode, with some differences of course. So click on classic, then continue. On this page, you can set the game goal and other basic game settings. In setting the game goal, we have firstly the time goal. With this option, you can set the amount of time after which the game will automatically end and the player with the most money wins the game. The next option is to make the game a race, wherein you can set the cash goal and the first player to reach that amount will win. Then the all-in option, here you can set the cash goal for the collective cash balance of all the players, and the game will end once the amount is reached. I will make this a time game, and this may be applicable where you'd want to use this as a form of formative assessment in order to check learner understanding on a particular topic that you just taught. Next, you can set the starting cash. This will be useful if you want to immediately enable learners to spend some money on upgrades or power-ups, which might add a strategic twist in the game since most upgrades are expensive in Gimkit money and would take longer for each player to accumulate enough cash to purchase most of them. I will set the starting cash to $100. Then we have the answer check setting. This option gives players the option to check or view correct answers after answering any questions incorrectly. Then we have the music setting. This turns the music on or off during gameplay. Then the clapping feature, which enables learners to clap at the end of each game. I suggest you turn it off. The clean power-ups only setting only allows power-ups that don't hurt other players. So leaving this off, for instance, enables learners to buy negative power-ups like freezing other players, wherein the frozen players won't be able to do pretty much anything for the specified amount of time. Then the nickname generator, and lastly, the join in late setting. After joining in the game, The learners are then given basic rules and instructions and will once again be waiting for you to start the game. Then the learners will be given questions, and answering them correctly will earn them money, which then adds to their overall individual cash balance. And getting the questions wrong will lead to money being subtracted from their balance. So after some time, depending on their cash balance, the learners may decide to go shopping. This gives them access to upgrades, power-ups, and themes. In upgrades, the money per question feature, for example, increases the amount of money you gain and lose per question. All these come at a cost that will be incurred by the player after purchase. Players can click on the desired option and then click buy to purchase the upgrade. Another thing to note is in most games, the money earned per question will increase according to the streak of questions answered correctly. At any point during the game, a player can click on this icon on the top left corner of the page to access the questions or shop. Other options when shopping for upgrades include a streak bonus, which increases the money earned when answering multiple questions correctly. Then the multiplier, wherein every dollar that goes in or out of the learner's balance gets multiplied. And the insurance, which would imply the learner only pays a percentage back after answering incorrectly. Once again, you can click on the desired option, then click on buy to purchase the upgrade. Next, we have power-ups. Here, learners can purchase various advantages and privileges from songs, streak savers, shields, wherein they can prevent other players from negatively impacting on them for 3 minutes within the game, and a subtractor, where they can spend money to remove 20% of another player's earnings. After purchasing the power-up, the learner still has to choose when to use the power-up. And to do that, the learner can simply click on this icon, then click on use to use any of the power-ups that they would have purchased. Then lastly, learners can choose to buy themes, which are mainly for cosmetic appearances. Next is the Teams mode. And once again, the Teams mode is very similar to the classic mode, except of course, with the Teams mode, the learners are divided into teams. And their individual cash balances add up to the team's overall cash balance. And the team that has the highest cash balance at the end of the game wins. You can select the number of players per team. And similar to the classic mode, set the game goal, starting cash, answer check, music, clapping, clean power-ups only, use nickname generator, and the join in late options. Under the popular picks, we have the Fishtopia, Trust No One, The Floor is Lava, Humans vs Zombies, The Draw That, What Is, and lastly, the Infinity Mode game modes. Firstly, I will preview the Fishtopia game mode. In this game, each player aims to answer questions at the question answering station, gain bait for the correct answers given, go to these sort of lakes, look to catch fish, sell the fish, then use the money to purchase gear, powers, and access the lucky lake. Once again, the player having the most money at the end of the game wins. The Trust No One game mode is very similar to the popular internet game Among Us, and in this game you will either be a crewmate or an imposter. The main objective for the crewmates is to find the imposters and vote them off the ship. And of course, for the imposters, their objective is to evade investigations and avoid being voted off the ship. For the game settings, you can select the number of imposters you want in each game, the number of investigations per crewmate, the investigation reliability. I'll leave it on normal. You can allow learner crewmates to call meetings. If not, then you as the teacher will be the only person in the game that can call meetings. After clicking on continue, you will once again be taken to the Gimkit host page. With the Trust No One, you need a minimum of 4 players to start the game. And as we have already set the number of imposters to 2, for instance, so it means in this game we'll be having 2 imposters and 2 crewmates. In the game, all players will be firstly shown their roles. Once again, they can either be crewmates, wherein their mission will be to catch the imposters, or they can be imposters, in which case theirs would be to evade investigations. To play, all players have to answer questions correctly in order to get lightning balls that they may use to purchase several mission control power-ups. For the crewmates, they can purchase things like a private investigation, where they can privately run an investigation on any player in the game in their search for imposters, of course. Take a peek at someone's notes and call a meeting. The imposters, on the other hand, can purchase an investigation remover. In case someone calls an investigation on them, they can call a fake investigation to deceive other players into thinking they are also crewmates, and also purchase the unclear and disguised power-ups, where they can appear as crewmates the next time someone runs an investigation on them. The game ends once all the imposters are voted off the ship, wherein the crewmates would win. Otherwise, if the imposters are not found, then they win. Next is The Floor is Lava. This is a team's collaborative game where the main objective is for the whole class to work together to stay above the forever rising lava and survive for as long as they can. To do this, learners have to answer questions correctly, get cash, and use it to build various things that will help them stay above the forever rising lava. In this game, it will be helpful for you to share your screen with your learners so that they can also see the lava height, their building's height, the time remaining in the game, and so on. On their own screens, the learners will see their own cash balance on the top right corner of the screen. In the shop, the learners can buy building materials like planks, bricks, and others. The more expensive options include a staircase, a house, and a shopping mall, which would add 150,000 blocks and take the learners very high away from the rising lava. Learners also have access to similar upgrades mentioned before, power-ups and themes. The other game modes under popular picks include the humans versus zombies. This is fundamentally a teams game where the players are divided into 2 competing teams, the humans or the zombies. The main objective of this game is to survive longer than the other team. For this, the players have to answer questions correctly, use their money on upgrades like repair, which increase their health points by 30, or sabotage the other team, which will deduct 40 health points from the other team. Next, we have the Draw That Game mode. This mode is different to the others in that the learners are required to draw their responses to the questions in the game, instead of answering the usual multiple choice questions and the text input answers used in the other games. With this game, you can choose whether the learners will draw the kit answers or kit questions. Then manage the terms that you'd want your learners to draw, since other things may be very difficult to draw. Then you can change the round duration for each round, set the term reveal, which will influence the difficulty level in the game. Then the guess feed, which will show the guesses the learners are making in real time. Upon clicking to start the game, you can select the player to draw first. Then they can select which term they want to draw and start sketching away. The other learners' roles will be to guess what is being drawn. And as a teacher, you will get notified once the learners guesses correctly. Gimkit will detect any responses deemed inappropriate and will bar the players' responses from showing on the public board for the rest of the game. Next, we have the Infinity mode. In the Infinity mode, the main objective is to be the first to collect all the 6 Infinity Stones. Learners answer questions correctly, accumulates cash, and buys the stones at different prices. After purchasing the stones, the learners will have to manually enable the stones to show for the rest of the other players in the game to see. And then on to the classic twists. In the classic twist, we have the super rich mode. This mode is very similar to the classic mode, except there's a lot more money involved when answering correctly and incorrectly. And of course, the items in the shop are a lot more expensive. The player with the highest balance at the end of the game wins. Next is the boss battle. In this mode, you must select a boss, which the whole class, referred to as the challengers, will be basically teaming up against. The team can also purchase power-ups collectively in an attempt to defeat the boss. Once again, the one with the highest cash balance between the boss and the rest of the class will be the winner. The hidden mode works similar to the other game, except everyone in this game cannot see certain information like the leadership board and the other game stats that is usually displayed in the teacher's view. Lastly, in the drain mode, the player's money is gradually decreasing, meaning the learners have to keep trying hard to answer questions correctly and stay in the game.